Yes, I'm John Craven. I'm the university's Vice-Chancellor, and we have sort of strange titles in universities, but it's the nearest thing we have to the Chief Executive, the person who's responsible for running the university, making sure we stay solvent, making sure we recruit all our students. There are 2,000 staff who help do that, and so I am, in colloquial terms, the boss of the university.
Can you tell us about the current financial state of the university? Is it in a good position at the moment to face the cuts? Or?
Yes, unlike a number of places, we don't have a deficit. We haven't had a deficit for any of about the last 10 years, and so we are not dealing with the problem that the government is putting our way because of the cuts, and also dealing with the problem of making up for a deficit that we've got already. We don't have that, and the fact that we are this year going to run a modest surplus means that we can afford the voluntary severance scheme. We can look at the adjustments we need to make in a measured way without panicking and thinking we've got to make these savings by tomorrow. It's not that urgent for us. Over the next 2 years we need to recognise that our income's going to go down and adjust to it, but we can do that in a measured way.
As part of those adjustments, will it be an increase in tuition fees and the amount of students get charged?
Well, that's of course not our decision in a sense, because we are limited and we charge the maximum fee to home full-time undergraduates, which is by far the biggest group of our students. And there is currently a fees review. The betting is that that will recommend an increase in the maximum fee. I don't know what we would do. I certainly don't think we would be doubling our fee. I think that would be a silly thing for us to do. We're not into that sort of change, but an increase in fees would obviously help offset some of the cuts. But the crucial issue with that is what is going to be the student support position, because at the moment you can access a loan to pay those fees. Almost everybody can access a loan, and almost everybody does. And of course with higher fees that would mean higher loans, which means the government has to spend more. So that's really where the big question is, and all of that is a national discussion. I'm involved in it through groups of vice-chancellors and so on, but ultimately the restrictions on fees depend on what the government legislates, and our position, I suspect, wouldn't involve a sudden major increase in fees. I think we would almost certainly lose a lot of good students by doing that, but I certainly wouldn't rule out some increase in fees if that was allowed.
Do you think
in 2012 probably.
Yeah, so but sometime in the future an increase will be announced.
Yes, and it won't affect students who are currently in the system, nor those who are coming in 2010.
Apart from tuition fees, what other alternative sources of revenue at the university currently looking at?
Well, we do of course get revenue from quite a number of other sources, including for research activities and selling various services to business, research services and consultancy services and so on. All of those are somewhat challenged because there's a recession on and businesses don't have the same amount of money. I think we, as a university of our kind, is always going to be very heavily reliant on the income we get for teaching students, whether that comes from the government or from the students or from both, as it is now for home students. And so we're not planning on major increases in other sources of revenue, but we continue to make strong efforts to try to get the contracts which bring in money for work that we can do for other people, but it's hard at the moment.
Does that include investment portfolios that the university holds?
We don't have a great deal of historic reserves at all. We're not a university with major reserves. We do have some investments. They of course go up and down with the stock exchange, and the money we hold in cash for sort of meeting day-to-day purposes is not earning much interest at the moment, so that's a bit of a blow to us as well. But we can't expect to live off, our accumulated assets for any length of time. By far the biggest asset the university has in material terms is the land and buildings we own, and the land is valuable. The buildings are probably only valuable to another university, so that restricts what they would be worth. Of course our biggest asset is all the people we've got, all the staff and all the students. Try not to sell them.
No, try not to sell them. Great. Well, I think that's it. Covered everything. So thanks very much. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure.